Let me start. Ciao Vincenzo! Jaime Estalella is with us today.
What's going on?
Jaime was basically work on the pre-production of the song. So like 80% of the things you're hearing, he made it in his own studio. Let's go, let's listen to the end and then. Drop. Great, Jaime. That was a great job. I loved it. You know, when you sent me the first demo, I loved it. You know, basically it's all there. You know, I just did like a few tweaks and a few like additional drum programming and simplification of like, you know, but it's all there. So Jaime is operating from his like, what would you call it, like condo studio, bedroom studio. I mean, it's much
2020.
I mean, it's much better than. Let me go full on. Where is it? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool what you have there.
It's coming together pretty nice. I basically had to bring all my stuff from the studio, you know, like you did, and then set up here, and it's working out pretty good so far. I'm mostly working actually on these Odysseys, LCD-Xs, and it's fantastic.
And what about your setup, your computer setup? You are running on a Hackintosh?
I have a Hackintosh. I have a Grace M905 as a monitor controller, and I have an Apollo.
Oh, wow. And
right, yeah.
What about your incredible Prophet X? It's not there because it's... that's a sad story.
Unfortunately, had to send it for repairs. Yeah, had a software issue, but it should be back pretty soon. I miss it.
Fantastic. Okay, so do you mind if we go through whatever whatever you did on the drums, on guitars, and on the synthesizer?
Absolutely.
So let's start, guys, with the drums. Let me solo the beginning of the drums here. So, what's the source? What did you use for kick and snare? I forgot.
It was actually mainly a combination of samples. I pulled up Trigger by Steven Slate and just started trying a bunch of different sounds, doing a different blend, and just started building it that way. And once I had a sound that I felt like was pretty good, I started working on adding other percussion parts and whatnot. Yeah, it was all basically done with Trigger to get the kind of sound that I was hearing in my head, I guess.
Cool. And if I on this beginning like 3, 4, 5 tracks, I don't think I did anything particularly. Let me see if I remember if I did something. I think I found everything already. I don't know. Maybe did I put this peacock? Maybe yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's
Just put me. I love it. You know, that's something always on the low end and roundness in the low end, both on the kick and on the snare, and that's all I think. And maybe I think I don't know if it was already split. I split the snaps. Is it possible? Did you already split them snap between the verse?
No, yeah, I think you might have done that.
Okay.
I honestly can't remember, but
It's just simply like because I needed like lower level. That's something easy, you know, like -12 and -4. So let's go on because I remember what I really loved. It was like how many like percussion elements you put. So let's go through. These were the main sounds, but if we start soloing all these other elements going down. There's a lot of percussions going on. So let me unsolo it just to make people understand like. And there's more. There's also, I love these whips.
Oh, I love those. I use those all the time, man.
Shakers. And then we have more like risers or like instruments used for fill-ins or like here like crashes and like starting from here. I saw you use. Did you use what, the Splice Evigan pack?
I love that
Yeah,
pack.
it's very well made.
I totally agree. It has just go-to sounds and also some pretty creative stuff too.
Yeah.
Like Foley and things like that.
I love it too. It's hard to make a pack that's so comprehensive like the one he did because it covers a lot of ground. Especially in the pop area.
100%, and stuff that you reach for constantly to use in a lot of different things. It's really hard to put something together like that. I think they did a great job.
Another thing that I always loved, and I actually pretty much emphasized a lot with also automation, I don't know where to find it here, especially at the end, were those toms fill that you did. I really love them. Let me solo back all the main drums. And when these fills come in,
This is the classics.
I love it. I think I added some. No, I just probably overdid a little bit this because I loved the lo-fi or distorted aspect of it, and I think I probably just gave a tad more of crunch or crash, whatever. But it was already great, and I just simply automated sometimes, the levels like at the end where I needed really to be like.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with Devil Rock.
And then I remember that you did a lot of risers here, like a lot of, like long crash. Are you really into that in general? Like,
it's just, with the drums in particular, almost until the end, it was just sort of that hi-hat, kick and snare groove. And I kind of try to get something basic going to build all the instrumental parts around. And then towards the end, I just kept having this feeling that it wasn't growing and it wasn't evolving enough.
Yeah.
And that's when I just kind of went crazy and put a lot of different percussion loops, adding slowly.
I love this.
You gotta get the feeling out of it. That little synth.
What is that?
ARP thing.
Yeah.
That's actually an idea that was there in the demo.
Oh wow.
The original demo.
Oh wow.
And I thought it was so cool that I felt like I had to be there in one way or another.
We need to thank Pollex that he did the original demo. It was a little bit more like 90s leaning, and then said we I don't know what's the past of leaned. Yeah, we leaned more towards the 80s. I think. I don't know if the past is right.
I'm from Spain too, so.
But I didn't remember that was already in the demo. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool idea.
So. Moving down, so I remember the original bass was more of a synth bass that you created. I remember that.
Yeah. It started with a synth bass.
Yeah, We can probably even show it because I think I have the original somewhere. It's probably this. What do you think? Or is there a longer one? It was a mix between. Oh yeah, because you didn't put the synth bass in the verse. Now I remember in the original. So or maybe yes. No, synth bass. Maybe wait.
It was. I can see the MIDI part
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the top.
Let me solo the MIDI part. It's probably working. So this was the original one. So it was even leaning even more to the 80s, you know, like almost like. And instead, I found that the classic Rickenbacker by Native Instruments was actually working better. And I think what I did is I used the same MIDI. The only thing I did is probably regrooved or removed with the delay something to make it. And I also I think used, or I changed some kind of the length of the MIDI note, something. I remember.
Man, that sounds.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first time I'm seeing this session and what you did to it, and I love that because I love Rickenbackers to start with, but also it's the same effect, but way cooler with the real bass.
I mean the part is the same, yeah, but I simply I think the sound is even better. And then I use
100%.
your slap bass. And if I'm not, another thing I did, I remember, I simplified the part of the Rickenbacker. I think I got rid of some notes, if I'm not wrong, but I could be wrong. And I probably did the same for the slap bass. I think.
I love how the two are working together now. The Rickenbacker. Man, I tried so hard to play that part on my bass, and I just couldn't do it.
But
I ended up having to use
but did you try playing with your bass?
I tried so hard. I spent like a half hour trying
Oh,
to
wow.
get that slap part going. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it to sound right. But hey.
But I mean, it's great. Let me play. And then
MIDI to the rescue.
And then there's this other. What did you use for this bass drone that I kept as it was? Do you remember? Let me see. Bass drone.
Might have been.
Here we are.
Trillion.
Yeah, Trillion. Here we are. Yes. And then I kept it. I always kept it, behind because it's giving like this, like more hum and big, low, constant low end,
Yeah. It's one of those either Mini Moog or Voyager patches from Trillion that I use a lot. That just has a great, big atmosphere.
Let's see if it's still. Oh no, I need to go through there. I basically use Trillion inside Omnisphere, so basically I never use Trillion separated, but whatever. So bass-wise, there's a minimum. I think these I probably did I add this or is something coming from you?
What is that one?
Let me solo that. Maybe it was coming from you. Let me see. Mini Moog.
I don't remember that one.
Oh no, maybe this Mini Moog. It's a MIDI. Yeah, no, it's mine. Apollo 5 and 6. Yes. I just added the Mini Moog just for the usual, crunch like this.
Can't go wrong with that. Love it.
All together. Then another pretty cool and very characteristic, thing you did, all the pads. There's a lot of pads, a lot of, synthesizers. So I love this. And there's another one, and there's a couple. Yeah, this one too. The mix between this. Do you remember what's this pad chorus that you used? Let me see.
Probably either Omnisphere.
Omnisphere, yes. It is Omnisphere, yeah.
It's probably one of those Juno patches from Omnisphere. Just with, I remember tweaking it quite a bit, but the part itself was actually an idea that was similar in the demo as well, that I really liked.
And then I kept all the other pads that you did. The only thing I changed is the main sequencer that you used. I thought that the part was really great, was really fitting the song, and was really grooving with the song. But I don't know why, I don't remember which one was the original song. I found it a little bit cheesy if I wanted to highlight it more. So what I did is I used a patch from the Prophet X, and also maybe a couple of Prophet X. But look, this one too. And in the chorus, I think there's another one coming in together. That's more like a piano.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
So it keeps, I think, the vibe on the cooler side, you know, on the like sexier in some way side.
100%.
Because the part is already sexy. I think that I don't know if I still have the original sound. I don't think, maybe I was wrong, but I don't think it was particular.
I think this one's much better either way.
Whatever. So then we go on, and there's what? Bells that I think I kept basically unchanged. I may have moved them a little bit with, you know, a time adjuster, but and then bells. The arpeggio, I remember that was a little bit more prominent in your demo, and I just lowered it a little bit because I don't think we really needed a lot of but it's worked. Cool. So let's move on to the guitars. First stem is, I think, what, like a strumming. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. But oh, I love what you did. That the same, you know, part, you basically used a classical, you know, strumming aux, but also you had a sequencer, basically a tremolo with a tremolator. I love this, you know, and it's all, and then only in the choruses.
You know, that's one of those things that I didn't used to do a lot, and after collaborating with you in a few songs, this is one of the things that we started doing.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Using what's the name? The Goat Keeper. Remember the pedal?
The Goat Keeper.
Yeah.
It's so great for that.
In fact, it reminded me the Goat Keeper was cool. Yeah. Let me solo just this, just to play for the. So basically, what Jaime did is, you know, using the same aux input for these two different auxes. One is just getting, you know, the strummed guitar, and it's basically this one. But it's not okay. Why? Okay. Good. Still has a little bit of tremolo, but the depth is very, you know, and the second one. And together. It's great. Let's move on the other guitars. So rhythmic guitars. Huh.
Gotta put a little funk in there.
And also, I don't know why there's a fake guitar that I did. Oh, because I think I highlighted your part. This part. Is this the part? No. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I needed even more attack.
Is that Nexus?
Yeah, I think it's Nexus. Yes.
I love the guitars in Nexus.
Yeah. Bang bang guitar.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Great song.
And also more guitars here, arpeggio. And on top of that, distorted lead coming in the second half of the second chorus. Here. More electric guitar coming in the beginning. Spacey guitars, where you use metal filter to filter them out.
Yeah.
By the way, one thing, because you're not just a musician, a producer, but you're also a great mixing engineer, recording engineer. What I really noticed, and I loved, is how you, in every single track you did, you really equalized and kept out of the way unwanted frequencies. So an example is watching all these Q3s. So for example, the sound probably didn't need anything, over 10K and below, 100, 200. And you created space, and then in this one the same. Every track you did the same, basically, depending on the frequency. And I love that.
Thank you, man. Thank
Look.
you. Actually, I was talking with Dave Pensado the other day, and this is something that, he was a guitar player too. He is a great guitar player, and he always talks about rolling off the high end of guitars.
Yeah.
At around 4K. And man, it's just one of those things that really leaves room for other things, especially vocals and stuff like that. And you really just don't need all that stuff most of the time.
And it's something that still, after 30 years of doing this, I still forget to do it enough. And because we work together, both in these and in the next song that we're gonna see, probably next week, maybe, the next song on AMICI TV show. Mm-hmm. I want to start doing it because it helps. It really helps, especially dealing. I'm not saying that someone should really sculpt, crazy EQs of thousands but like low and look, if you really don't need anything that plays over 8K, just roll it off, and it's because also we live in a fully digital, system, It's also easy to do, and also gives you instant results, because even if you don't hear something, it's not that something is not playing in that area. And the build up, when we're talking about what? Let me read. We're talking about 212 tracks in this song. Okay, so if all the 212 tracks have even minus let's say minus like 20 dB on something over 8K, after 200 tracks it becomes like something really annoying, and
it just sounds like there's this static going on up there with the guitars, because you always have a little bit of crunch, and it
totally
sounds,
So then I noticed that you did put this pulse thing only in the first verse in the chorus, and then you didn't put it anymore, but I liked it. So basically I created a part out of this, or maybe it's another thing.
What part is that?
Oh yeah, see this one, guitar pulse. Yeah, this one basically. I remember. In fact, you see that this is copied, because it was not here. But I liked it. It gives like some nice pulse to the whole song. Look in context. In context, it's like this. But you can hear it. There's something, So I remember that you went through the chorus, and then you in your mind you thought that, the arrangement was a little bit changing, but I loved it, and I kept it even in second verse because it gives me.
I love using guitars as percussion sometimes,
And also I kept it even in the choruses, in all the choruses, because it's subtle. Also, at the very end of the third chorus, I remember this guitar solo that I loved. It's. And then those strings I really love. What did you use for those strings?
Man, I remember spending a minute trying to find the right patch, and it might have been a combination of things. I would think it was Contact.
Contact, yes, it is. Let me see what.
And it might have been just Session Strings Pro, honestly.
Let me see. I'm curious. I don't even think I opened it, because
I think it was Session Strings Pro with one of those like Motown patches or something like that give it like an old school sampled vibe.
Contact. Every time you enable Contact, it takes the first time, and then probably there's no other Contact now open in the section, so it's taking a long time to open it. But I don't think I ever opened it, because it was sounding so great that I said to myself, why do I need to tweak it? I may have equalized. I don't even know, because did you put Altiverb? or no, it's disabled, or maybe
Yeah,
I
yeah.
disabled it because I wanted in your face, but that's all, So let's see. Yeah,
Oh no, it's string on.
string
Yeah,
ensemble.
it's the Contact 12 string
Yeah.
ensemble.
Wow, look at that. And the good old side widener always
Oh man,
present.
this thing just makes stuff sit in the mix like
Yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. Even mono sounds. So when you have
Yeah.
that crazy mono sound that how can I make stereo this mono sound? It's impossible.
Oh,
Technically, it's not. But you just fire up this, and it suddenly instant stereo. There's another couple of plugins, if you remember, doing the
Stage
same.
one
Yeah,
is
stage
pretty
one.
great.
Stage one that I don't have, but I'm starting to collect all of them because I'm in love with. I'm using
Oh, they're
Dyna
amazing.
One every day. And Root One too,
Yeah,
every day. So you
they make great stuff.
would you suggest what's the name of the stereo? One of the
Stage one.
would you suggest it?
Well, I think that there's two groups of like widening plugins. You
Mm-hmm.
have the widening plugins that are like an effect in and of themselves, and like I put in that like something like the ADA flanger,
Yeah.
the Micro shift, the Tal chorus, and then there's things like side widener or stage one even more. This category that you don't really hear any artifacts or any modification of the sound. It just gets wider.
Yeah,
And stage one to me is the one that does that the cleanest, but the side widener has also a really cool vibe.
yeah. Especially with those three, algorithms.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Of the three,
Yeah.
I never use three.
On me
I
neither.
either use one or two.
And I'm 70% two, if not 80. And one is when I don't want to really when it's something so, you don't want to touch it and destroy it too much. But if it's a synth or is it something I don't care, I want to just simply, that the stereo, especially in the chorus, gets, wider. I just go for two, and I even lower, the effect on lower frequency. I don't care, sometimes.
Yeah. But one thing I saw you do a lot on background vocals was use side widener too, which I hadn't been using.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it's one of those things that just makes them sweeter, and it adds like this subtle chorusing. And
Sometimes because now I'm using more, headphones to mix, but before, so headphones really helps you understand if you're overdoing the side widener effect, because they start basically, you start listening to things that comes from the back, so it's a little bit too much. But in general, so let's open the vocals. Let's see what we did. I remember obviously getting the vocals directly, so we didn't record the vocals obviously.
Michaela, I just want to, if I could just bring attention to something real quick. First of all, I love the balance of things and how you were able to take 100 million guitar tracks and synths and percussion loops and still make it feel like simple but with depth at the same time.
Thank you.
The rebalance, I think, really helped to make the song about the vocal.
Thank you. I remember that I loved actually doing that, because you gave me so many options that I remember particularly doing the rebalance of all those percussions, and I loved it. It was not, annoying or boring, because every one of them was doing something in particular. So what I did, sometimes I just muted something in an area, and you gave me options, which is great when you need to be fast and work on a schedule, and you have someone working with you and for you. I had so many options. So what I needed, just muted something there, just equalizing. Maybe what I did. Sometimes I got rid of the low end. Because we had so many options for the low end on the main kick, and then so I didn't need a lot of low end sometimes coming from the percussions, or instead sometimes So I loved it. So
that made it build a lot more from chorus to chorus. And also another thing that I think was really important in making sure that you could hear the vocals really well and that the sections went well from one to another is all those cuts that there were. Like where all the reverbs and everything were cut out, and then the chorus hit and things like that. That was really cool too.
So let me open the vocals. So vocals here.
E Padova è una spiaggia, solo anche stasera la luna è piena. Mi brucia tutta la schiena. Granita alla marena, l'amore ci avvelena, un bacio alla mucchina. Le labbra bruciano ancora, vorrei del ghiaccio nel bicchiere per favore. dove finiscono le cose che perdi.
I love that vocal chop that Paulix did probably when recording the vocals, and so we kept it. I loved it. This one, like,
Lasciarti andare.
wait, solo go. Oh, because this goes to the instrumental. That's why. But how did we listen to it? I don't know. But whatever, So let me unsolo this.
Altro, fingi di amare, lasciarti andare.
Oh,
Cerchi
because
conforto nel
it's
letto.
not. It's here.
E Padova è una spiaggia sola anche stasera, la luna è piena. Mi brucia
Here.
tutta la del ghiaccio nel bicchiere, per favore. Dove finiscono le cose che perdi quando è troppo tardi?
This is something I was always doing. So you are creating your own, kick side chain, basically kick track that's muted and it's only sent. I muted it because I didn't use that. But I was doing that a lot in the past. This is very handy as a trick. So you're creating your own sidechain track so that you can actually, and it's an audio track, so you can mute and basically arrange how you want your sidechain compressor to react. Because if you get rid of a kick, or you simply mute an area, in that area
it has an extra benefit
Yeah.
too beyond that, actually, which is that you're on an HDX, you're on an HD system, and you have delay compensation on the side chains.
Yeah.
But I'm on a native system, and Pro Tools doesn't actually have delay compensation on the side chain for
you're,
native systems.
oh, you're right.
So it helps a lot
Oh,
with keeping the side chain,
I didn't even think about it. Wow, didn't even think about it. Yeah,
on
it
your
makes.
end, on your end, you needed way less.
Yeah.
But for me, it was pretty important.
I mean, I always use it when I have a song. Those songs the ballads that you still want to keep this wave of sidechain, but you don't have any drum kicking in before the first chorus. But you don't want to have like all the pads, everything doing and then starting to pump, unless you want to do that. And so you create, this track that still pumps a little bit, And then it's cool.
Utility.
Yeah, it's also cool because you can change volume easily, even clip, you can do clip, gain instantly. You want to have a hit that, compresses less or more, you can do just on a single, clip gain. So vocals, we got the vocal. What I did, I went through like some vocal production and I tuned that and I got rid of all the breaths and everything. And usual, vocal chain. I think this was coming from you. You use the Shadow Hills.
I love this thing.
I love it too, but I don't use it. I used a lot the hardware on vocals when recording.
Yeah.
But I always forget how great it is the optical, when you're mixing.
Oh my
so
God.
I think I got this from you, and then probably this is, judging by how many points this is coming from you. I would never do more than 2 because I'm not an engineer, so I would put 2, but then this is Canova, is beloved MTW,
Yeah.
and then MJUC. 534 samples to delay a little bit the vocals.
Il tuo silenzio una bomba al tritolo sotto al cuscino non mi fa dormire, non ha più senso.
Exactly using revoice, probably people know it better. It's like the new vocal line, the revoice here, basically aligning all these background vocals and this low end with this software, aligning everything perfectly.
It gives it a super cool vibe in the verse. And everywhere, really good.
Prima sarei impazzito. Avrei spaccato tutto, il tuo silenzio una bomba al tritolo.
And then I remember something I really loved coming from Pollock's demo was this distorted higher octave background vocal in the chorus, and I simply used Soothe too to get rid of like some, good old Sidewinder. And then I think I asked to re-record the part, so I had an option, and then I used this a little bit too. So everything together.
Granito alla marena, l'amore ci avvelena, un bacio alla mucchina. Le labbra bruciano ancora. Vorrei del ghiaccio nel bicchiere, per favore. Dove finiscono le cose che perdi quando è troppo tardi?
So that's it. I would just go quickly through the master just to see if there's some crazy. Okay, yeah, I see. My beloved Diamond 3. By the way, it's really true that Diamond 2 has a vibe, like you said, What's the vibe of Diamond 2 versus Diamond 3? I forgot, but it's true because I went through Diamond 2 for this and and it was doing really something cool.
It's interesting because with these plugins, like the second you put it on, you don't have to do it. You don't have to put on the preamp. You just put it on, and it immediately does something to the transients, and it does something EQ wise. And Diamond 2 kind of has like a fattening effect, and Diamond 3 to me is a lot cleaner. And so you actually have more flexibility, but you don't have the immediate color that you have when you put Diamond 2 on.
Yeah. Did you ever put Diamond 2 just for the color and then Diamond 3 for the fatness?
Oh, that's a great idea. I haven't done that. No.
Yeah, but the problem is sometimes these acoustica plugins are so CPU, intensive that if you put 2, probably you can put anything anymore.
You gotta be careful, yeah.
But okay, let's see. So just simple Q3. Maybe this was already in your set. I forgot. Were you using this? No. I love this. I love for the first reason it's AAX DSP, so no CPU, but also it's a great alternative to the classic SSL bus compressor, and I love it for the filter, for the V gain, I love it for the mix, for the headroom, for all this stuff all together, and then followed by the Diamond 3 that's doing a lot. It's subtle, but and then the good old. Oh
yeah.
Did you notice the bug that every time you open it, it cuts the audio for 1 second? This is crazy.
No, I haven't noticed that. Actually.
Look at this. Play.
Oh wow.
Maybe it's an HDX thing. I don't know. But every session, look, even like you can always. It's a very annoying bug, but it's making such a difference. Look.
It's so great.
I mean, to me, it's magic. It's the closest 100%. Thing to magic with like GoFos, But especially because I barely change. And what I do is I use the factory default, and I go minus 15, 14, and then from minus 15 I go up to. Basically, guys, what's doing it's what would you say? It's an upward multi-band compressor. Would you say that? How would you? Or
I don't know if it's upward. I think it's just a multi-band compressor.
Parallel. That's using parallel. Yeah.
But it's designed to work in parallel and linear phase, and so it's just magic on the stereo bus.
Guys, just to let's exaggerate some of the things as to like because maybe on the internet look. So nothing. It's because it's multi-band, it actually regulates every single band independently, but in some way, because it's parallel, it doesn't destroy the sound and it's linear phase, so it's adding what's missing, depending on the level. I mean, it's magic, and then you can solo, so you can actually really listen just to what you're doing here. But this is not parallel, so you're not hearing would you think you're hearing the original too? No, because if you go no, this is just what's added. Yeah, this is just what's added, the solo.
You have so much control too.
It's fantastic. But let's go back to minus 13.9 just to. Second best thing. Do you use this or not? Did you buy? I mean,
I got the demo. I have to buy it because I'm falling in love with it.
no, listen. So first trick is using the focus. First of all, almost never using drive. Almost always using the basically punch. So emphasis, because drive to me it's too drive. It's distorting too much. I mean, in what. So I use emphasis, and the trick is using this. Like if you want to highlight, transients. You.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to highlight something that's more far or it's more like behind in the mix, you go like, basically more far away, far away. And then also what I do, I mean, I now barely use it more than 4 or 5% because it's really changing a lot,
Yeah.
And also the emphasis, it's. But this option is really cool. You probably used it. So it's like on the Empressor or a lot of Elysia stuff where you can have a limit to the amount of compression, a hard limit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever tried that on Empressor. You can create almost like a distressor sound with Empressor, like distort, like compressing, like incredible, but then saying maximum 5 dB. So for the first 5 dB, it crashes, but then you will never create that kind of distortion. And this is the same. So you can select, 50. But and you actually see, the limit, the blue line that sees it moves around, because you say, I don't want to do more than 5, 6 dB. Wow.
It's such an amazing plugin. It's one of the coolest things that has come out.
I don't even understand. I mean, it's a combination of things because it's doing a lot probably in one process,
It reminds me of Intensity a little bit.
Yeah, but here I can hear compression too going on. In Intensity, I can't hear compression. I can hear saturation and equalization and biasing. It's almost like a tube. Reminds me more of the Whitestone, my hardware tube device. Instead, this is like almost like magical L2 combined with Fire Cobra. It reminds me more Fire Cobra. Then, in fact, is it? No, it's not from the same company because it's Ursa DSP. But is it sold from the same website? No, maybe not. No.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Then Golfos, we have the Magical.
Oh yeah.
And then Ozone with low-end focus. That I mean, it's I don't know. It's basically 85% of my mixes does low-end focus. And then, do you use this trick that Patrizio taught me? Sorry, teach me. It's very Italian. About using a limiter before the maximizer. So
No, I did not know this.
I love this. I'm doing this a lot of the times now. So basically, what I do, and first of all, I'm never using any more Ozone 9 to really crash the level. So as you can see, 0.9 here and 0 nothing basically, just to. But it's basically 1 to 2 dB max between these two. But the fact that you're using modern or analog, never use tube because it's too slow and it's too coloring. So you basically get 1 dB. So the trick is getting this to see reacting and then backing off, where basically you don't even see the curve happier moving, or like this. And then using the maximizer to simply reach the clip, the limiting in the chords like this. I mean, this really works because it's a good old motto where you have two or three limiter work better than one, But how they interact, the vintage limiter with the maximizer, I really love, look.
Man, I gotta try that. And what mode of limiting do you like on the maximizer?
I always love 4, but the problem is sometimes 4 is very CPU taxing, and if you have thousands of plugins, but typically it's 4. I don't know what about this. Yeah, see, 4, and then I use, depending on the song. This song, I don't know why it's classic. Maybe it's just a mistake. I would have used transient or modern just by judging. I mean, I'm using Ozone since so many years, and since when they introduced the different algorithms on the 4, I remember transient is when you really need to have a little, to preserve a little bit more the transient. Classic is when you have more of those ballads, more then you don't really need to highlight a lot of transient, or they're warmer and you don't need that kind of digital aggressiveness.
Right, yeah.
And then modern, it's in between the two. Sometimes but if I have to tell you, to me, like 80% of this time is between modern and transient and IRC4. Sometimes I don't know why. Sometimes IRC1 seems to work. When
it's weird. Yes, I know what you mean.
It's crazy, but
and then what is that? Limitless.
And then obviously Limitless, and we could probably have like a lesson about Limitless.
A full on, yeah.
And it's not doing crazy, Chorus 2 is doing. Are you one of those fan of the Swell 3? Because I'm still Swell 2, but everyone seems to love the Swell 3.
You know what? I don't use the clipper in Limitless.
Why?
Almost never. I don't know. I just can't seem to make it work for me. And I've tried it a bunch of times.
But wait, so do you use another clipper, or you simply don't use a clipper?
Well, I usually use some sort of clipping on the drum bus.
Okay.
And if I want clipping on other buses, I'll use it there. But for some reason on the stereo bus, I rarely use it. Sometimes the glue has a great clipper, and I'll use the glue on the stereo bus and then go into Limitless.
Oh, wow, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I remember Clipper, but I never used it. Let me see. Wait,
It's great on drums.
Wait. There's a trick here. Oh, pick clip, this one.
Exactly.
I never use it. So is it cool?
On drums, it's pretty great, and on the stereo bus, sometimes it works pretty great too.
Oh, wow. Let me try 1 second. Let me just get rid of it. Oh, by the way, on the stereo, we forgot we had I'm using more and more Master Desk. I don't know if you're a fan. I'm a fan.
I'm a big fan of this plugin.
I'm a big fan of this, simply because it's an easy way to get a little bit, like a couple 3 dB more level without destroying your sound. Actually, shaping the sound even more on the right side of it. This like tone things, they do wonders sometimes.
And the foundation,
that
is such a useful control to have at that stage.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, foundation, it sets let's call it how much bass do you want to fill before even starting to compress or limit or tweak other parameters inside the plugin. It's inside. I think they teach you. They tell you. The first thing you should do is start like tweaking the foundation. I watched a couple of educational videos. Yeah.
It's like a tilt EQ almost sometimes too.
Yeah. It's like a tilt. I start with this. I typically go. I don't know why. Always limiter turbo and 4. 4 I think is the less obvious limiting algorithm, I think, and limiter turbo is simply faster. I think like the variables, the attack and the release, in some way they become faster. If I'm not wrong,
I think you're right.
And then
turbo, man.
And then and then I love the fact that they still I tend to go on the lower side of the parallel percentage here. So always 88 or even like 86, which is the minimum. I never used the Esser. I mean, I remember one record that it really worked well.
For me, I use it sometimes when I got a snare drum or something that's just tearing my head off.
Yeah.
And it can really control that.
Oh
sometimes.
Wow! I always use Sooth too for that. On the even on the mix. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Do you ever happen to use and work with these resonance filters? Because they never gel with me, but probably because when I fire up Master Desk, I'm already 80% on the. So
I was just going to say that. I was going to say the same thing, that it's like that. It just does too much. For it to be on the stereo. Like maybe on the drums or maybe, but still. too much.
Because if you didn't fix your low end when you're 80% on your song, and you would expect something like that drastic to fix something, I mean, there's something wrong on your mixing, you know.
Yeah, might as well go back and fix
Yeah,
it, on the track itself.
Also, I love, the view and how it shows you, the right, when you are in the right spot of, dynamic
that's really
range.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. So I was telling you what? I was telling you something. Oh, the glue. Let me try that.
Glue
I wanna
clipping, yeah.
disable all this stuff so that we don't. And it's gonna obviously sound lower. And does it work only when I go against it with the makeup?
Well, you have to start seeing that above Cytomic, that LED is going to start turning off orange or something like that, and that's yeah.
Sounds great.
It's pretty good.
Do you think the mix is also the mix of the clip gain, of the big clip?
I don't think so, actually.
Let me see.
I'm not sure.
Yes. See? Yeah.
Oh wow.
But that's cool. That's interesting because you can actually mix in a super distorted clipped, version. That's cool, actually.
And what I love about it too is, how when you compress drums or something like that, you're compressing, so you always get like more of a transient at the beginning, and you're making up the gain for if you're compressing 3 dBs or whatever, but you're getting those transients.
Yeah.
Then you got a limiter that has to catch
Yeah.
those. If you turn a peak clip on, it catches those.
Wow,
pretty well.
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I use the glue a lot on drum basses, and I always see, but I never realized that actually, because in my mind, glue is doing what I was using my hardware 4000 G-Bass compressor on drums for. So, you have your programming, and typically my programming, is very transient, full of, so you need something to keep the transient a little bit more controlled. So in my mind, I split the clipping part. If I ever use clipping, I use it on the master of the drums, before hitting the compressor to alleviate, you know what I mean, the spikes.
100%,
but actually, this is another approach, but it makes sense too. You compress and then you clip out, the things later. It's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I do both. Like you were saying, sometimes I'll throw like a JST clip or something like that on the kick or on the snare or whatever, super loud, and then throw the glue and clip it some more. Why not?
Let me reply to some of I see some Italian questions. Let me translate. Walter, oggi dicevi come mai la sorgente è distorta. I mean, it's not distorted, but like they were saying that they were feeling a little bit of distorted effect on the vocals in the mix, and it's actually a little bit coming from the recording. The recording is not super pristine, so when you start doing parallel compression, parallel everything, it actually brings out a little bit this quality. I don't mind, in the mix, but Walter was complaining, was just keeping it like as a thing on our Telegram group. So yeah, I mean, you can hear it when I was soloing the vocals that it's not like super clean. Nowadays there's a lot of distortion on vocals, by the way, even if you record them with a new 47. Once you start putting like bunch of layers of parallel compression, parallel distortion, parallel EQ, and then limiting plugins, and it's easy to overdo that. So it may be even something on my side. Michele, dove trovi questi loop di drums fantastici? I didn't find any drum loops because it's all about Jaime. So all these drum loops, actually, where did you find all these drum loops?
I'm pretty sure that just about everything is from Splice. I remember using quite a few.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Kashmir 3.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
see Kashmir. Yeah.
But just all over the place, but mostly Splice.
Yeah. And how do you use Splice with Pro Tools? Do you use the trick of let's playing basically from the Splice app, and or you actually have your workspace inside Pro Tools already with all the downloaded loops and you play them in time?
I do both.
Yeah.
I do both. Usually I'll have the Splice app open and I take a note of what my tempo is more or less, and I just kind of I have an idea of what I want the percussion part to feel like. And then I'll just throw in like, I don't know, 10 loops, and half of them won't work, from Splice into Pro Tools, and whichever ones work I keep or edit them or whatever. But just dragging from the Splice app open.
That's cool.
That's
how we do. In fact, I think that the next big step that Splice needs to do is having a dedicated app for, plugin for all the formats. Can you picture like an
Loop Cloud,
yeah,
right?
but better. Loop Cloud is great, but
Yeah.
it's not perfect. And I think Splice can do an awesome job to like do a proper app. So, ciao Michele, la voce in ottava bassa l'hai ricavata da Revoice o l'hai no, Saba, I got the lower octave from from Leonardo. I just simply realigned that with Revoice. Grazie, fantastico come sempre. What's the name of the song? The song is called Via Padova, and I'm gonna type it here so you can easily find it on Spotify. Wait, how do I type? Oh, send thanks. Okay. Via Padova by Leonardo Lamacchia. You can search for this on Spotify and you'll find it. Via Padova, and who's the dude that was late? The dude is Leonardo Lamacchia. Artist Leonardo Lamacchia. Oh, they were okay. Via Padova by who? Okay, good. Thanks, Vincenzo. Okay, I'm late to the game. Okay, guys, I think we gave you a pretty, in deep, show of the what the session, what the arrangement was, the production, and the mixing. If you want to see something else, or if you want to ask something more, just oh wait, hai usato la stessa tecnica con il sidechain come hai fatto con Fibra. What do you mean, Max? You mean what? Sidechain? Are you talking about like sidechaining in general, or something about the vocals? Let me see. Thanks at all. Comunque, Max, maybe just drop me a message here or in my DMs on Instagram and I can reply on something else. Michele, hai mai pensato di pubblicare dei mini video tutorial in cui spieghi piccole tecniche generali? Yes, I thought about it. And actually, I'm gonna do it now that I set up the studio in a proper way with a lot of cameras. I can probably finally do some YouTube videos dedicated on single things like vocal chain, mixing, mixing bass setup, or even like operating a modular synthesizer. I can't wait to do it actually.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I love it too,
so
because
cool.
once you have, the problem is if you can really show, what you're doing, and by showing what I'm doing, I mean like really a camera on the modular. I mean it's boring, you hear like a cool sound, but you don't understand where am I patching something, where am I, connecting something. I mean, in the future we're gonna do like even like recording session on Twitch. I mean. We can do like totally do one song, you recording, and then people seeing you recording. It's so open. The fact that now, dove sono state registrate le voci? I don't know, Walter. They got me so I don't know if these are the original vocals from the Pollex demo or maybe they re-recorded. I for sure they re-recorded part of it because I asked some of the vocals to be recorded on the Amici studio. No, I don't know the microphone. Sorry, but I can ask for next time. Ok, sulla voce, no, non penso di aver usato sidechain. No sidechain on the vocals. Ok, ragazzi, thank you so much, Jaime. It was such a pleasure to have you here and to, do this together. And we should do that maybe for the next song it's gonna come out and for other stuff, if you like it,
It was such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next one, 100%.
Okay. Guys, see you next Tuesday for the next Canova Speed Date, and see you on Thursday for Canova Ascolta, and on Friday with a special interview with my new signing, Ormai. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Bye, Jaime.
Bye, Michele.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.